Into this Thanksgiving Day matchup with Dallas coming off a win in Week 11 over the Cincinnati Bengals, which for Smith was his first as a starting quarterback since Week 10, 2018, when he suffered that devastating leg injury. So for Alex Smith, a lot to be thankful for on this Thanksgiving Day. Our Kurt Warner sitting down with the Washington quarterback to talk about the journey.
Here comes pressure. Kareem gets him down with J.J. Wat. A deep sack on Smith.
2 years ago, you're having a life-saving surgery. So how does Thanksgiving take on a different meaning for you now?
Yeah, I think it'll forever be changed for me and my family. Almost that life is different from that point on.
They've already called for the cart for Alex Smith.
Smith is hurt badly, and it does not look good.
In the military, they call them their alive day, you know, when they've gone through traumatic injury and come out the other side.
I know you did some of your rehab with a number of veterans. Is that where you picked up that saying?
You know, after the infection and all my debridements, and then they finally got it under control, I received special exemption to go down and have access to at the Center for the Intrepid, which is the rehab facility for all the military. They're a big part of why I'm back where I am. So thankful for that, obviously humbling to get a chance to go down there and work alongside our servicemen and women who make the ultimate sacrifice.
What was the lowest moment of the comeback?
When I was stuck in the hospital bed and when I was stuck in the wheelchair, I literally built up all these walls, I feel like, and I just sat there for so long wondering what I'd ever be able to do again. Was I ever going to be able to walk normal? You know, was I ever going to be able to play with my kids? In my first trip down to the Center for the Intrepid, and that was the first time they put a football in my hands and really made it okay for me to even think about that. I couldn't even walk, and they had me start throwing, and I remember how therapeutic it was to get a ball again and start throwing, and it really energized me.
Once you had kind of made that decision, you were all in. Was everybody around you on board with that decision?
I think everybody was really encouraging at first. You know, sure, when I was, you know, on crutches and just learning to walk, and they said my leg was good to go play tackle football again, which for me were words that I wasn't sure were ever going to happen. That's when I think it got real for everybody.
Alex Smith, for the first time since November 18th of 2018, when he had that nasty compound fracture in his right leg, is back out here.
Just tell me about the emotions of running back onto the field and playing the first time.
There were probably only 200 fans in the stands. It was pouring rain. My wife and kids were like 12 rows up. I could basically almost talk to them from the sidelines.
Boy, you saw his wife Elizabeth in the kids zone in the crowd. I mean, what a nervous moment this must be for them.
And then when the hit happened to Kyle, it was almost nice in that sense that I didn't have very long to think about it. I ran over, grabbed my helmet, and next thing I know, I'm calling a play.
Some pressure, and there's the first time Alex Smith is hit as he's taken down and sacked.
Crazy to have that first hit and, you know, Aaron Donald jumping on your back.
Alex Smith thankfully does pop up and jogs off okay.
But what a great moment it is right there. That's fantastic.
But obviously it felt amazing too. You know, that first hit, you know, you've had in a long time. It always felt nice to know for me in 2 years that I was okay.
So I say Alex Smith, starting quarterback for the Washington football team on Thanksgiving against the Dallas Cowboys. What comes to your mind?
I feel like I'm getting my chance, my second chance. There's so many things I think we take for granted in our life that we should do more often than one day a year and take notice of and realize how lucky we are for so many things. Thanksgiving will forever be such a special day for me and my family.
Ooh, Willie, I mean, it puts it in perspective, doesn't it? Thanksgiving Day and football, yes. Certainly an important meaning now for Alex Smith, considering how far he's come.
Especially when you hear him say life-saving surgery. Sure. It just wasn't a surgery to get back on the field. It was a life-saving surgery. And I had a couple of back surgeries. And the one thing that you do think about when you're laying in that hospital bed on your journey back to recovery is, will you be the same? Will you be able to move the same? Will you be able to play the game? Will you be effective? Will you once be the player that you were before the injury? And if you listen to Alex Smith, he wasn't even thinking about football at that point in time. I'm pretty sure that the thoughts of not ever playing football crossed his mind plenty of times until he did get that football in his hands in the Intrepid Center. And he started, you know, kind of gaining a little more confidence and doing more and more as his rehab went on. But it's a great story. It's just something, another obstacle. It just shows how these players, man, they go through so many things and they overcome, and how important the football is when it's other things going in your life, how it can assist and get you back to where you need to be. It's one of the craziest feelings ever. I'm telling you, just laying in that hospital bed, thinking about that. And sometimes football is the furthest thing from your mind, and it's the best thing that can help, that can happen to you to help you get back to where you need to be, not only physically but mentally.
And how thankful are the Washington football team right now to have Alex Smith back, and that he was able to make that kind of recovery and lead them now with Kyle Allen injured and with Dwayne Haskins having, you know, the early season struggles, that they have a quarterback like that to turn to here, as they have they've just as good a shot as anybody in this NFC East division to come out on top this year. So right now, the Texans and Lions are in the books. Texans getting a big victory, Willie, over Matt Patricia's Detroit Lions in Detroit. Let's take you to the highlights here. The early part of this game, boy, this was really interesting here. Last 3 Thanksgiving days have not gone the way the Lions want. They've lost 3 straight. So here they come in the first quarter. No score. Matthew Stafford. And here he goes up top to T.J. Hawkinson. Wide open. Like it.
Yeah, when you see a play like that, you're like, okay, they're on their way. They got the momentum.
And then you get Adrian Peterson, second oldest running back to score a TD on Thanksgiving, second only to Marcus Allen. Pretty good company there for AD. The closer on that drive to give the Lions the early lead. But how about your thanks giveaways here for the Texans defense? Coming up with a couple of big plays. Nothing bigger than J.J. Wat. He's so good at deflecting those passes. Here he is, actually hanging on to it and going back for the pick 6, Willie.
Right, when you can't get to the quarterback, we're taught to get your hands up. He is so good at having the instincts to get his hands up with those big mitts coming down with the ball, turn into a touchdown.
3rd career pick 6, and then how about on the next play? Next play from scrimmage. And you get Jonathan Williams coughing it up. Bradley Roby recovers for the Texans, and all of a sudden here, this Texans defense that's had their struggles, Willie, starting to find their way and providing a spark for this team.
Yeah, and when these running backs are struggling for more yards, that's usually when the ball comes out.
And it did there. The Texans would add a touchdown. And now another giveaway here. Kerryon Johnson on the next possession for the Lions. Coughs it up. So they had 3 giveaways in their last 8 snaps. Okay, let's bring Deshaun Watson out. Very next play for the Texans, and C.J. Procise is going to cough it up. Takes the handoff from Watson, and in good field position here, gives it right back to the Lions. 4
they raked
turnovers.
That ball out. Did a great job,
Willie, in 12 plays, and then the Lions would get back into the end zone. Adrian Peterson once again, 2nd touchdown. They take the lead 14-13. But Deshaun Watson here, 2nd quarter. How about this on 1st and 20? The explosive play for the score to Duke Johnson. Beautiful pass.
Yeah, that was a great play. That was a great play, and Jamie Collins had the coverage. You got to keep your eyes on the man when you got a man-to-man.
Let's go to the 3rd quarter. A little more trickery here for the Lions. Jamal Agnew. Look at this ball placement to Matthew Stafford, trying to make a contested catch, but that ball ends up coming out as Whitney Merciless and Justin Reed combine there to knock.
I don't know. That was close, Rhett.
It was,
That was
man.
close.
It was. Looks like he got a knee down and then hit the ground with control, and then it came out, but still it was ruled incomplete. We'll take you to the 4th quarter. Texans up 26-17. Here comes the Deshaun Watson and Will Fuller show. Perfect shot, 40-yard strike.
That's just a beautiful throw, and you got one-on-one coverage on the outside. Nobody on the threatening the other side. The safety should have known better to get over there.
That's a great point as well. And how about Texans seeing all that trickery from the Lions offense? How about a little flea flicker for you? Duke back to Deshaun, and another one perfectly in stride to Will Fuller. This one 34 yards, and the Texans well in control at this point, Willie.
Yeah, I'm just baffled. Nobody was 15 yards of Fuller. I just don't get it. You just don't leave guys like that wide open. Somebody has to have the backside.
So there you have it. Deshaun Watson, 17 of 25, 318 yards, 4 touchdowns, 2 of them to Will Fuller there in the second half that really keyed this Texans win. Texans get their 4th of the season, while the Lions drop their 4th straight on Thanksgiving Day. So, Willie, I mean, Deshaun Watson came into this game, 13 touchdowns in his last 6 games, 0 interceptions. Yes. He's playing the best football of his career right now. What do you attribute to his success so far in the midst of this kind of frustrating season here for Houston?
Well, I think things are finally starting to come together. A lot of people question why they made the trade of Hopkins and bringing in Cooks and Johnson and how they switched out all those players. But I think like we mentioned earlier, Rhett, these quarterbacks got to get in sync with the receivers. They got to get in sync with the offense. Everybody has to be on the same page. Deshaun Watson has never really been in question of what kind of player he is. We've seen him make some amazing plays with his feet, with his arm outside the pocket, throwing the ball from the pocket. But now it seems like that everything is coming together. Like everybody's comfortable, everybody knows their role, everybody's healthy. That's the other thing. Fuller's never really on the field for a full season. Cooks is never really on the field for a full season. He's got all his weapons at his disposal. Now you're able to complete and go out and run the offense to the fullest because everybody's out there. And Deshaun Watson, like somebody said, if the record was better, they'd be talking about MVP. The record doesn't matter. He should still be in the MVP conversation because of the way he's playing.
100-plus passer rating in 8 of his last 9 games. Patrick Mahomes is recognizing the run that Deshaun Watson is on. Man, Deshaun Watson is special, and he had that bullseye rolling today. Those couple of touchdown tosses at the end to Will Fuller, about as perfect as you can get. Now, I want to go back to the first half, though, for a second. We talked about it. We showed it to you in the highlight. That stretch where there were 4 turnovers in 12 plays, Texans defense forcing the first 3 of them. You know, what kind of spark does that provide? What kind of atmosphere does that give you on the sideline there for a team that's, it's had their share of downs here in this season, to have the defense kind of provide that spark in a game like this to kind of turn the tide in your favor? What does that do for you?
Well, whenever you can give an explosive offense multiple opportunities to get the ball, it's special, especially when you can do plays like this, take the ball out of the air, catch it, get an interception, and run it in when you can give the team points. But like I said, these running backs were fighting for more yards. This defense, and I know Romeo Crennel, he was my defensive coordinator. We've had periods in practice where we go after the ball. We know who the targets are. We constantly worked on stripping the ball, getting the ball out. And you can see that these players are zeroing in on the ball. Even when the journey is over for the runner, they're still trying to get the ball out. And it showed that what they're doing in practice is paying off in the games. And when you can create 3 turnovers, which I think turned into 13 points, it's a plus. When the defense can give you points and opportunities and put you in position to score, it's always a plus. And that'll get any offense going.
Yeah, and the Texans also get a little help in the run game today, more so than they have in recent weeks, and they had it rolling on offense today. You mentioned the explosiveness. We saw it in full effect today in Detroit as the Texans get the victory, their 4th of the season. All right, we got another game to get you set for here as you fire up your turkeys here this Thanksgiving Day. How about Ezekiel Elliott coming off his first 100-yard game of the season in Week 11? Also,